11 at 11. Would you remember your high school sweetheart after 60 years? They did, and now they've said, I do. The news is next.
You're watching 6 WATE-TV Knoxville. Coverage you can count on. This is 6 Eyewitness News, 11 at 11.
A Harriman man charged with being an internet predator says he is innocent. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brennan Robinson. Yvette is off tonight. Police in Florida arrested 45-year-old Ricky Joe Mitchell, online named Tennessee Stud, after they say he came to Tampa to meet what he thought was a 15-year-old girl he had been chatting with online for nearly a month. But the girl was actually a sheriff's detective. We talked with Mitchell on the phone tonight. He says, quote, I absolutely deny these charges and will plead innocent. I never thought the person I was going to meet was under 18. He also said he was entrapped. Mitchell, who is married, says the trip to Florida was for business and to visit his children from a previous marriage. He says he did not go strictly to meet anyone. Mitchell is charged with computer pornography, a felony in Florida. Well, thousands of tourists are making their annual trek to the Smokies. As the leaves start to change, the traffic backs up. A plan to relieve the problem is causing an environmental debate. Scott Withers reports.
Scott Withers, 6 Eyewitness News.
And construction on the road widening project is set to begin in the spring. A young Campbell County man reported missing after he left home for more than a week and didn't tell anyone. Just wanted a little time away. Now he'll get some help. 20-year-old Justin Bannert left for class at Roane State Community College last week. His family didn't see him again until he came back yesterday morning. His grandmother, who cared for Justin for 6 years, was one of the first people to get the good news.
My daughter woke me up about 8. She lives across the road from me. She shook me, Mom, Justin's home, Justin's home. And like I say, it's a miracle. We just went berserk. I mean, you know, everybody crying and hugging him, and so glad to have him home.
The family says Justin needed a break and drove through several states, including Florida and Texas. He ran out of gas and money near Dallas and hitched his way back home. The grandmother says depression runs in the family and that Justin has agreed to see a doctor. A fiery wreck killed a young man in Monroe County this morning. 22-year-old Mark Rogers from Tellico Plains was driving on Highway 39 just before 1 a.m. His car went off the road as he went around a curve, hitting a utility pole and caught fire. Police say Rogers was alone in the car and that his was the only car involved. Police who had the wrong house, and killed an innocent man could be the targets of a lawsuit. Police busted into 62-year-old John Adams' home in Lebanon, just east of Nashville, Wednesday. Adams apparently thought it was a burglar and fired his shotgun. 2 officers shot back, killing him. Police admit they were after the man next door. The family wants them prosecuted for murder. The widow says she'll wait until after the investigation to decide whether to sue. Well, tomorrow is Columbus Day. The post office, banks, and many other offices will be closed, but some say Christopher Columbus doesn't deserve a holiday.
No more Columbus Day! No more Columbus Day!
Native Americans and Hispanics in Denver blocked the Columbus Day parade route, the first there since 1991. Nearly 150 people went to jail. They say Christopher Columbus was a slave trader who killed their people. The peaceful protest ended a little later, and it was peaceful after all. Tomorrow morning, here and across the country, 1 million moms or dads will commute to work, but not in a car. Clay Thomas picks up the story in tonight's Children First.
For Children First, I'm Clay Thomas.
And for more ways to stay in touch with your children while traveling, just go to WATE.com and click on Children First. Anderson County officials have their hammers and nails for a big new playground. Now they just need a few more carpenters or anyone willing to help out. They put the word out today at Fort Kidd near Fort Sanders. They want to build a playground like it in Claxton beginning Wednesday. Area businesses donated the $84,000 for supplies. They have 300 volunteers so far, including Y-12 plan employees giving up their vacation days. But they need another 800 volunteers to finish the project by Sunday. If you want to help, report to the Claxton Community Center on Edgemore Road anytime between Wednesday and Sunday. And you can probably leave your coat at home because it's going to warm up before then.
That's right. Later in the week, we've really got some beautiful weather, but tomorrow morning, jackets.
All right.
Maybe winter jackets for some of you because it is going to be cold. Check out the temperatures now. We are already
in the 35 to 40 range. 40 from Paint Rock, Wartburg, and Maynardville. In Cosby, Ken Major already down to 36 degrees. And a freeze warning is in effect for all those areas that didn't get a freeze last night, because temperatures will be down near the freezing mark with partly cloudy skies and your sunrise at 7:37. And then we also may have some below freezing temperatures tomorrow night as well. So a couple more nights. But Brennan, our 6th day will show a warm-up. As a matter of fact, by the end of the week, you're going to say, boy, what beautiful weather. We'll check out that 6th day in a few minutes.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob. Well, the Vols dropped out of the polls for the first time in 6 years. Scott Finley has the story in our quick check of sports. Scott.
Well, Brennan, you have to go back to that 8-3 season in 1994, which is actually looking like a pretty good year at this point, to find the last time the Vols were not ranked in the top 25 polls. As expected today, Tennessee drops out after that loss to Georgia. Titans had their hands full today up in Cincinnati and against the winless Bengals. Touchdowns were hard to come by for one of the AFC's top teams, and the Titans found themselves fighting off a scare.
If you let them in the game, give them some breath. You know, they haven't been in a game really this year. And you get them in the second half and then believing they can win. I mean, anything can happen. So, and we had our share of mistakes today.
Thank goodness for Eddie George. His 186 yards rushing, saving the day for the Titans as they escape with the win. More on the Titans' come-from-behind victory later in sports. Also, Peyton Manning up in New England to face the Patriots. And NASCAR in Charlotte this weekend. And the points battle is no longer a battle. Brendan will fill you in on that in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Scott. Well, two high school sweethearts who hadn't seen each other in nearly 60 years plan to spend the rest of their lives together. They were reunited last year at a high school breakfast, fell in love, and yesterday at a nursing home in Kentucky, they became Mr. and Mrs. David McGahee. As soon as the groom can walk, he says he will move to where his bride lives in Ashland, Kentucky. The newlyweds are both 75 years old. Well, that is 11 minutes of nonstop news, weather, and sports. Still ahead, a story to prove there is no time limit on love. And from 1984, Vice President Gore debates a Republican, not the Texas governor. He's now talking to the Knoxville mayor. First, the rest of our forecast.
Low to mid 60s Thursday, mid to upper 60s, and we get back into the 70s by Friday and Saturday. So we certainly see a warming trend down the road. But again, about 36 more hours of this little winter preview continuing.
Very nice. Pretty good debating weather.
Debating weather.
I'll explain.
Okay.
The second of 3 presidential debates is Wednesday. Al Gore again, one-on-one with George W. Bush. We are reminded of another debate 16 years ago this week between Al Gore and a man who would later become Knoxville's mayor. With tonight's time capsule from 1984, here's Suzanne Stevens.
The only candidate who wants to argue the Ronald Reagan or Walter Mondale coattail effect is Victor Ashe. He's the Republican who stands to gain from Reagan's popularity here in Tennessee. Albert Gore, the Democrat, is trying to downplay Mondale's unpopularity. But at the debate, Ashe wouldn't let him.
The fact is, he offers a different vision. He offers the Mondale approach, and I offer the Reagan approach.
I think that the presidential race and the Senate race are separate and distinct, and I think that people in Tennessee understand that we need a senator of our own and not a rubber stamp or somebody who will take their directions from elsewhere besides from Tennesseans.
Right now, Gore has a large lead in the polls over Ashe. The debates may or may not make a difference. After this one, some independent analysts felt Gore had a slight advantage.
Right, he's got that sort of schoolmasterly way, which he tells you like he thinks you're really stupid how to understand all these complicated issues and boils them down.
He's a more articulate person. He's better looking. He just looks better on, he's more of a TV candidate.
As for TV, this was the last televised debate of the campaign. Now the candidates have exactly 4 weeks left to stump in other ways before the election. Suzanne Stevens, Team 6 Eyewitness News.
Now, the third man you saw there was independent candidate Ed McAteer. Of course, Gore won the Senate seat, which he gave up in 1992 to become vice president. Ashe was elected Knoxville mayor in 1987. Well, a pair of New York baseball teams with a chance today to wrap up their playoff series. And Peyton Manning trying to keep the Colts on the winning track. Scott Finley has those stories later in sports. Plus, the cold weather wasn't enough to keep local parents and sons from bonding outdoors.
6 Eyewitness News continues with Brennan Robinson and Yvette Martinez.
Now, these aren't 100% accurate, right?
Well, you'd be surprised how accurate they are.
And we have some fairly accurate box office totals. And the Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller comedy Meet the Parents topped the list this weekend with an estimated $30 million. Last week's #1, Remember the Titans, finished at #2 with $19.6 million. And Sylvester Stallone's Get Carter was way behind, getting only $6.7 million. Final figures due out tomorrow. This weekend's chilly temperatures may have kept a lot of folks inside. Not so in Roane County, where several hundred parents and sons spent the weekend camping. And as Don Dare tells us, it was time well spent.
As if y'all don't notice the paint that's on my face, the black paint.
Here's 6 Eyewitness News.
In East Tennessee, there are nearly 20,000 scouts and about 4,000 parent volunteers. Well, Scott is here. It's never a good time to pull down the goalpost. Can be dangerous.
Yeah, it was last night down there at Georgia, and some folks have been calling, just asking. They heard some injuries down there happen, and they did. So we'll update you on what was going on down there at Georgia last night. The Titans battling the injury bug and could be losing one of their most durable players. It could be a double celebration in New York tonight. The Mets doing their part in the divisional playoffs. We're back with the stuff in a minute. Face the Cardinals next in the NLCS. And the Yankees right now, they lead Oakland 7-5 in the 8th. So it looks like they could wrap that up. They'll play Seattle next. Whoever wins that series plays Seattle next.
Potential Subway Series as well.
It could be. Yeah.
All right. Well, still ahead, how many skiers does it take to break a world record? We'll let you know next. Well, the Olympics may be over, but a ski team in Seattle went looking for a medal of sorts. They set out to break the world record of number of people on water skis towed behind a boat. That record held by the Australians with 100 skiers in 1986. So, did the Seattle skiers make the Guinness Book? Nope. You can only get 26 people up in the air, not even close. Ugh, there they go crashing. They say the boat was too slow.
At least it was warm in Seattle.
It's not so here.
Not so here. We do have a freeze warning in effect, near freezing in the morning. A partly cloudy, chilly day coming up. It'll warm up later in the week.
All right, thank you. And thank you for counting on 6 Eyewitness News. Our news continues at 5:30 with Good Morning Tennessee. The George Michael Sports Machine is next. Good night.